My name is Fatima. I'm 20 years old and I'm studying a Bachelor of Communication majoring in journalism at UTS. What I picture when I think of the word Muslim is a woman wearing a hijab. I think Pauline Hanson would picture a terrorist, someone dangerous, someone who wants to change this country, and for the worse, I guess. I wouldn't say that Islamophobia impacts my daily life because I don't wear the hijab, so people don't instantly think she's a Muslim. I do think that when I tell people I am a Muslim, it does change their perception of me, although I don't have the evidence for that. But I am coming from a place of privilege because I can choose whether someone knows whether I'm Muslim or not. Yeah, I do get scared to identify myself as Muslim sometimes. I think in the university environment, I've grown to be a lot more open about it. So I tend to tell people I am a Muslim if it's relevant and if I want to share that. But I do think that it really depends on what environment you're in. In high school, it would have been a little bit more, I think people were a bit less accepting of my Muslim identity, but yeah, I would say I am pretty comfortable but hesitant at times to identify myself as a Muslim. I don't know if people do look at me differently when I identify myself as a Muslim. I think it's something I am self-conscious of because well, initially I was more self-conscious of it because I thought people knew a lot about our religion, but it turns out not many people know what it means to be a Muslim. So at times people do have these assumptions, but they also don't know a lot about what my religion involves. So yeah, I think sometimes people do start to think, oh, well, she must be really religious or she must be really conservative, but they've already kind of drawn a perception of me from meeting me. So I don't really have any evidence as to whether they've changed it based on me telling them that I am Muslim. So nobody's ever been open about that, but I would say it depends. For me, Islam is like every aspect of my life. It impacts who I am as a person. It impacts how I act, what I do and what I don't do, and my faith. It's my belief, and I carry it with me through everything in my life. So if I'm going through a really stressful time, that's something I fall back on. If I feel like I'm neglecting my faith, it's something I'm very much aware of. It's something that I think about all the time, and my family's quite religious, so I guess that would have impacted in terms of my upbringing how I feel about my religion. But to me, it's Islam is peace. It's a feeling. I can't even describe it. It's peace. It's faith. It's feeling connected to, like, spiritually. I have been treated badly because of my Muslim identity before, but I wouldn't say, and this is something I really have to emphasize, I wouldn't say that it's such a common thing because I don't wear the hijab, and that's something that I am quite insecure about because I call myself a Muslim, but I don't carry those, I do have that sense of privilege. When I was in year 7, nobody really knew I was a Muslim. You can tell by my name if you know that it's a Muslim name, but when you look at me, you don't know if I'm Muslim. So somebody found out in my grade that I was Muslim. We were really young and stupid, and basically he started to treat me a bit differently. And in year 7, you all carry these big bags that are like twice the size of you. And he used to make these jokes about, and he found out I was Afghan as well. He used to make these jokes every time he saw me about like, oh, there's something in your bag, like a bomb or something. And it became really repetitive. It was like harassment where every time he saw me, he'd make a comment about, oh, something's gonna go off, or, like make some Taliban jokes and Osama bin Laden jokes, and I didn't really realize it was wrong at the time until it became so frustrating that somebody did stand up for me, another Muslim girl, and then that was when I realized, I shouldn't really take that kind of behavior. And in terms of my friends, I have a friend who wears the niqab, so she covers her face up to her nose. You can only see her eyes, and then she's got the scarf as well attached to that. She gets daily abuse from people, obviously, because it's so open, her Muslim identity. It's right there in front of you. She once was getting on a train, and a white woman, I think, was getting off, and the woman was just like, she just sort of sighed and rolled her eyes and just was like, oh, just take it off, and then just walked away. And that's like one of the more subtle, well, not subtle, but just less extreme cases of Islamophobia that she receives. But I don't know, just hearing that story made me think, like, it's insane that people can think like that. I think in Australia we don't generally have frank discussions about things like race and discrimination against religion, and we need to more, because we're just so uncomfortable about it. Our politicians are, they think that we're a multicultural country, but we're not really having these frank discussions about things like religion and race and discrimination. To have those discussions means that we're basically not afraid to shy away from it, and we're acknowledging first off that it's an issue, because if you're not going to acknowledge it's an issue, then nothing's going to change. And then we're working towards a solution, and that is people growing more comfortable about Muslims and not thinking that they're this alien, scary thing. Most people get surprised when I say I'm a Muslim, because they're like, oh, but you seem like different to what they have in their minds in terms of what a Muslim is supposed to be. And it's just about having those frank discussions and trying to, it's really important to talk about Islamophobia, because if you don't, then there's no solution that we're working towards. If I could speak to someone who was Islamophobic or had very extreme views against Islam, I guess if they were in the room with me right now, that would make me very uncomfortable. I don't think I could speak to someone like that, because honestly, those people have their minds made up. There's no changing it. But if there was the opportunity to change it, I guess I would say, you don't know us, you don't know our people. We're so diverse. Every single minority group is so diverse. They're not all the same. You can't expect them all to have the same perspective. And even just attaching those negative stereotypes of terrorism or danger to society, alien, that stuff is not even true. It's not representative of what Muslims are and what our religion is about. So what I would say to people like that who are Islamophobic is, you don't know us, you don't know our religion, and get educated. Do your Googling, do your research, because at the end of the day, people like Pauline Hanson have not done their research and have not, she thinks that if you say, as she would say, Bismillah in front of any food, like if it's pork or something, that it immediately makes it halal. So if she thinks that, then she clearly doesn't know anything about our religion. So do your research and get educated.